Well, it's another end of the week as we get closer and closer to Halloween. There's a lot going on. It is another edition of Otaku Thursday. It is 6 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. If you're watching this on YouTube and Rumble, we thank you for tuning in. We got a lot to discuss, a little bit more than last week, because there's a lot going on. When you look at all the anime that's coming out, just this fall alone. I've already seen about 2 episodes of Dan 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 Dan, Rama Half. I've already caught up on the ReZero, so I'm just about to start the new season on that because I know the first episode is about 90 minutes long. There's a couple of other anime I'm trying to catch up with. There's a long way to go on some of them, like Bleach and a couple of others. There is a couple of that I'm rewatching, which I know like this particular weekend, since it's Comic-Con weekend here in New York. We got Artifudo is coming back in. I believe this. I think it's this weekend. Artifudo is back for another new season. I can't wait for that. I've been waiting a long time because I love that one. And there's a couple of other anime that I'm looking at here and there, getting recommendations from those of you out there that's been sending it in. We really do appreciate that. We've gone through 3 episodes of Uzumaki, and I know some people said they don't like the animation or the animation just doesn't look right to the situation. I think it's okay. It is just really a twisted tale itself. 3 episodes. And we got 1 to go this weekend. The finale is this weekend. So we'll know where all this wraps up because I've never read Uzumaki. I've seen and read Tomi and a couple of the others. But Uzumaki happens to be one I haven't read. So I don't know the ending on it or seen because I think there was an Uzumaki a live action that was out that's hanging out there somewhere from Asia. But let's start off with this. And this is something we didn't get to cover last week, but there were two people in the voice acting business in anime that had passed away. And most people didn't. The first one, most people didn't realize that this happened. It's been very silent because I didn't see too much on this. And if it wasn't for our viewer that sent it to me, I wouldn't have known either. If you ever seen Doraemon, which I'm familiar with, because Doraemon goes back to my youth. Nobuyuto Oyamada, I hope I pronounced it right, and I do apologize if I don't, who was the raspy voice of Doraemon, she's passed away. She was 90 years old. And I'll tell you, she was doing the voice from 79 to 2005. Same way like the voice actor for Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball series. She was doing it for a long time as well. And, Doraemon, I got into a little bit in the beginning, and later on, I just didn't catch back up on it. I might try to watch it again. It happens to be a really good series, because a lot of people do love it. It's still a fave of a lot of true anime watchers out there. It happened to be very, very good, and it's a sad loss. It is really a sad loss on there. Hopefully, rest in peace. The other is if you have seen an ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, you're familiar with the narration. Now, see, one thing about here in the U.S., not only Dragon Ball, Doctor Who, if you watch the early WWOR Channel 9 Doctor Who episodes, or anything, any of the U.S. ones from back then, there was a narrator, and that was the one thing that sort of like introduced the episodes, the intros and outros of the episodes, and that was the same thing with Dragon Ball Z. And they were really good. You loved it. But sad news, the man named Doc Harris, which wasn't his real name, and we never knew his real name until now, who narrated the Dragon Ball Z for the original English dubs, which is also known as the Ocean dub. For those of you who still have the Ocean dub, or you can look on YouTube for that. He did the voice for that from Ocean Studios, which is they're totally defunct these days because that was in Canada. Doc Harris, who was also his real name was Gilbert, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, Alchinlek. He passed away last week at the age of 76. This was on October 5th at a Vancouver General Hospital. The cause of death wasn't given, but he was in for some basic surgery in September. But it was described as minor surgery. We don't know what it is because we haven't gotten for that. But if you're familiar with the work of Doc Harris, it's not only Dragon Ball. He was a legacy DJ for the radio. Now it's been back in the day. He worked with Wolfman Jack and many others. If you're familiar with Wolfman Jack, he's been on the Doc Harris has been on the radio many years, and then he switched to doing voice acting, and basically he ended up to be the legendary voice actor for Dragon Ball Z. And it's a shame. So rest in peace, Doc Harris. Great voice, and like I said, if you haven't seen it or heard his voice in a narration, go ahead and go grab an episode on there. Now, the rest of the show, we got a lot more that's coming here. We got an anime that basically it's going to have its final season. Another one's going to be taking a break. A particular anime character is getting their Thanksgiving Day parade balloon returned. Another manga is coming to an end. Announcements for one particular anime. Another classic anime is getting a Blu-ray, and sneak peeks because we got, like I said, Comic-Con is this weekend. So in fact, today's the beginning of it here in New York at Javis. And we're getting a sneak peek for one particular. I believe it's going to Cartoon Network, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Netflix is getting it as well. But let's start off with that. Actually, if you're familiar with Cowboy Bebop, basically, the anime legend Shinjiro Wannabe is coming out. You know his body of work from Cowboy Bebop. He's introducing a new series called Lazarus. And from what I have seen, it looks pretty good. It marks his return back to the sci-fi action genre. The most of it's like a globe-trotting thriller set in the near future. Supposedly what it is, there's going to be a sneak peek panel on the 18th. That's at 3:30. If you're here in New York and you're going to New York Comic Con, it's like from 3:30 to 4:30 at room 405. It will also have Adult Swim heads Jason DeMarco and producers Joseph Cho and Takanori Madea will join Wannabe. He'll be there as well to discuss the series, and I guess you get a major sneak peek into it because this is going to be on Adult Swim. And I don't think we have an exact date. I guess they'll announce the date then. We'll talk about it next week again. Adult Swim will be showing off a lot more at the convention. Of course, they'll be doing Rick and Morty. They'll be screening some others. There's a woman wearing shoulder pads. Common Side Effects. YOLO is coming back again. And a couple of other things that are on there. Chris Parnell is going to be showing up. Sarah Chalk to the other panels. Because the Comic-Con on this side, on the East Coast, has been doing a little better than the one on the West and in San Diego. So that's why they had the extra day. It gets really crowded. I haven't been to one in a long time. The last time it was a while ago because I had a friend of mine who basically, he now works for Lincoln Center, one of the theaters out there, construction and all that audio. And he was an audio man for one of the concerts at Comic-Con, and I got a nice sneak peek to one of the major concerts at that time period. I'm trying to remember the group. It was so long ago. That's how long I haven't been to a Comic-Con. It was just as I got back from Florida. So it was a group that I believe it was a gun. Was it Gundam? For Gundam? It was for one of the. I'm sorry, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to call him to refresh my memory on that one. Basically, it was a group that did soundtracks for some of the best anime out there, and it was the first time they were here in the U.S. at that time period years ago. So they were doing a live concert. People were lining up, and my friend, he was one of the main audio techs. So I got to sit through a test, sort of like a rehearsal test of the systems. So that was pretty good. But yeah, like I said, this week, you're going to be filled with a lot of it. We'll probably get a lot more news next week on what's going on in the anime and manga world. Stuff that's going to be probably in the theaters, or coming to one of the streaming sites, and Blu-ray, because I know there's some Blu-ray coming out. And speaking of Blu-ray releases, there is a series, if you're not familiar with it, it is Megazone 23, the OVA trilogy is expected, and it's probably going to be advertised heavy at Comic-Con. They're bringing out the entire trilogy remastered. It's going to be released sometime like about November 12th this year. It's a groundbreaking trilogy. Features the original ADV film commentary tracks, the ADV film English dub tracks for all three parts, UK dubs. There's a lot in this. This is what you expect from a remastered Blu-ray, Japanese commentary tracks, illustrations. I mean, this was one of the, I got to put this out. Let me put this out. Because somebody was talking about this the other day. I think it was in Mother's Basement, about some of the older, like the horror animes and stuff like that. Back when I was growing up, especially when you had in the 80s, you look at Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Mad Dog, Vampire Hunter D, many of these animes from back then, and they were drawn. I mean, the detail was phenomenal back then. I mean, you look at today, and not knocking on a lot of it today, because there's some great anime out there. So you got like Mushoku Tensei and Demon Slayer out there that basically, they're fantastic in, the way it looks, the action, the fight scenes and stuff like that. And, like you have the new season of ReZero out there, which also it's very beautifully done as well. And, they do a very good, job on those, the current ones, but the ones in the past, the earlier days of anime, Megazone, happens to be one of them, Macross, Gunbuster, Appleseed, Evangelion, Escaflowne. I mean, I could go on and go through a list of some of the best stuff out there. Even some of the worst stuff that's out there from the early days is still very well done as far as anime. I mean, you look at, for example, not the greatest story in the world, but it is a decent one, Lily Cat. I was bringing Lily Cat, and I like Lily Cat. The story is a little off, but the animation itself, the creature effects, are really well done. I mean, you look to that perspective that, it's just like they did a great animation. The story just didn't work out well, but it's still a classic. You have to also remember, this is one of the animes that the early days of the Sci-Fi Channel was, playing on Sci-Fi Saturdays. You had stuff like Lily Cat, Project Echo, which is like Battle Gray, Battle Blue. I think it was like one of the big ones that was on there. It was like a two-parter, very long one, which was really good. Dominion Tank Police was another one. Vampire Hunter D. I'm trying to remember. The other one, 8 Men After, which is fantastically done too. Fantastically animated for a story of that nature, which was a little gory, but still I mean, it was well done to the situation, and that's the art, And I say that these are artwork when it comes to anime. I mean, you get art exhibits of the original artwork from the drawings, the anime, the mangas. You get art events like that because they were very well done. I mean, the same thing with Studio Ghibli. I mean, you look at a lot of the stuff that Studio Ghibli puts out, which is always getting nominated for Oscars left and right every time they put out a new one. I mean, they got some great artwork as far as the anime itself. We can go on this because basically, you know, a lot of them are good stories. A lot of them are well animated, good voice acting. Some of them, they need some work on the voice. I'm glad they're using the original voice cast on this from ADV. ADV, which was, if you're not familiar with ADV Films, they were one of the big ones that put out a lot of great anime. They brought a lot of anime into the West. Like I said, a lot of it also, ended up on Sci-Fi Channel. So, what is it, November 12th? I guess you could pre-order now. I believe it should be available for pre-order. Megazone 23 OVA Trilogy Collection. That would be on my Christmas list if my wife is listening. Please, please, please. No. Yeah, it is definitely going to be on my Christmas list for this year. Now, next year, 2025, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on. And, toward the end, we got a couple other stories for stuff for next year. But one of the ones that have been eyeing on, and it's been a bit, is, a lot of these slime tales and stuff like that, I was reborn as slime and all that, they get knocked on. And there's some that just really, they're forgotten. One of them is I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. It's seeing a second season for this finally, and it's getting an April. So you're talking about a spring 2025 debut. And if you're not familiar with this is one of those that basically it's an all-girl series. And basically, yeah, there's some guys in here, but there are no guys in the main character roles. It's mostly that it's all girls. The main story plot line is this is one girl that basically she worked in a Japanese office and she worked herself to death. And she got the wish to be reborn in a new world, and all she wanted to be a witch and to have a lot of time that she can grow stuff and just relax. Just the thing is, says, hey, listen, I want to be in a new, if you're putting me in a new world, I just don't want any issues. I just want to live a nice, peaceful life. But, this is anime. It's an isekai and it's anime, and you're going to get into trouble on this. And the thing about it is that the main premise, it says I killed 300 slimes and I leveled up, is that for a couple of hundred years, she lived peacefully, but she was killing slimes here and there, not realizing is her level maxed out. And she gets to a point where basically people were finding out that she's very powerful and come to try to fight her. And it turns into a lot of fun between dragons and ghosts and revenge from the slimes. Yes, that's right, the slimes want to come back for revenge on this. So, you'll understand if you see the series because there are two of them that come up. And basically, there's a lot of fun into it. Yeah, there's a little bit of fan service. We're talking very little because there's a couple of characters that just end up to just get a little crazy, but nothing that gets way out of control or any major nudity or anything to that nature as far as season 1 went. But it happens to be, hey, listen, I know it's a lot of girls and stuff like that. It happens to be a lot of fun. If you want something that's basic, simple, just a nice, simple premise for an anime and isekai, I've been killing slimes for 300 years, is well worth the watch. Now, switching over, last week we talked about that Oshinoko is going to get another season. Yes, that's right. Oshinoko is going to get another season. But the thing about it is we're getting to the end of the story. Now, the anime, I'm not certain how much more time it has, but the manga has only 4 chapters left. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Oshikono is coming to its conclusion supposedly in June of next year, of 2025. I believe it's on a hiatus at the moment. The new chapter will be here closer to Halloween. I think about October 24th. They expect to reach, and then you can expect the next chapter a week to week till about November 14th. Then the last chapter, 166, will grace the pages on the weekly Young Jump magazine. The final book of the volume of the manga will come out in Japan in December. By the time we get it, it'll be probably closer to June. So it's like 4 more until June. So far we got the 2 seasons. The third is on of the anime. The third is on its way, which is being streamed by High Dive. Which for High Dive, this is Oshinoko was its most successful launch ever for an anime on their streaming site. It was record-breaking and controversial because it had a dark, But the thing about it is, people will complain about this and some of the happenings on this, if some of the plot line and what happens between certain characters. But when you look into the perspective, and especially what's going on in the media today, the whole Diddy situation, so that there's a dark side to the entertainment industry. And when you look at Oshinoko, that's what we're experiencing in this series. In a way, it's sort of a soap opera to the dark side of the entertainment industry. Because, yeah, there is a dark side to this. Things are going to happen. And the case, if you've caught season 1, you know that the mother of the 2 children were brutally murdered for some reason. And the reincarnation of both the children that were reincarnated from 2 other characters on there. One of them happens to be the doctor, a doctor, and the other one happens to be a patient who died. I think it was cancer or something to that nature. And they've been reincarnated as their favorite pop idol, the children of a pop idol that they loved, and they're trying to figure out the one that's the son. He's trying to figure out who murdered his mom. Basic and simple, but the way an anime goes, you never know what is going to happen. You got to remember also, this is Yen Press, so Yen Press is not going to rush this out. They're going to take their time on this. And, like I said, it's just around the corner. You're going to get a couple more chapters. Like I said, it's going to finish off in Japan in December. By the time we get it, it'll be closer more toward June on that. But you also never could know. You always get that yo-ho-ho that's already translated. So you'll probably get a sneak peek of that sooner than later. Speaking of sooner or later, Thanksgiving will be here. Yeah, that's right. We're halfway through the month. Thanksgiving, Halloween is close. Thanksgiving is around the corner. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh God, the end of 2024. Wow. November is going to be an election. This is an election year, so we got November to look at. Be sure to get out and vote. And take your time. Do not let anybody rush you. And be sure to get out and vote. Vote directly. Don't mail it in. Go to a voting site. Don't let anyone push you away from that. And that's important. That's really important. But we're not going to get political. on this. But the thing about it is, what else that comes on Thanksgiving is the Thanksgiving, besides the food and everything, is the Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which some of us have worked on. You know, the people around me, the late Richard Concepcion used to be in the parade as particular characters, Warner characters he used to be chosen to do, and some other characters. Friends of mine have worked directly on the parade itself, on the floats, holding the balloons and stuff like that. And speaking of balloons, with the release of the new Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Damia, Goku is returning to the parade this year, announced by Macy's Studios. This is the 98th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Goku will be coming down to Herald Square in all his glory. You know that Damia has already premiered. We're going into a second episode this weekend. So far, it looks great. The last series by Akira Toriyama, the epic series. But the character that's coming out is his old character in his full gi, which is measuring about 70.5 feet long, 33 feet wide, and 41.5 feet tall. It's a big boy. If you're familiar with the parade before, you know you've seen this particular balloon. So it is coming back as promotion for Crunchyroll and the Dragon Ball Damia. He'll have his big flowing black hair up there, and you'll be able to watch either if you're here in New York or you happen to be traveling to New York on Thanksgiving, which is I believe November 28th this year. Yeah, it's that Thursday will be a 28th this year, so it'll be the latter half of November. You'll be able to see that if you're here in New York. Do brave the elements to go to the parade. It is a fun time. You'll have a great time on there. Bring hot cocoa if they allow you to bring that in there. But if you happen to be home, if you're in the U.S., you'll be able to watch it either, I believe you can, YouTube, the NBC channel will air it on there. You can watch it on NBC. It will be streaming also on Peacock, especially for those of you not in the territory. Use VPN, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get it in your area, if you're outside the United States. Parade is always a great watch. It's for the musicals, the music, the Broadway shows, the floats, and of course, Santa. Yes, that's right. We kick off the year, the Christmas season, when Santa arrives at Herald Square at the end of the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now, moving on a little bit, there's been a lot going on with One Piece. And, everybody's been talking about that. We're going to be getting to the end of it soon. We're going to be getting to the end of it. But, unfortunately for those of you expecting to finish off the rest of the season with this, One Piece is going to take a break. And, they're in the middle of the Egghead arc. Unfortunately, the Toei will be taking a hiatus and will not be returning until April 2025, in the spring season. They're taking a 6-month hiatus, and it's effective immediately. I believe it's this weekend. This Sunday's episode will be 11/22, which unfortunately I'm on 6 to 700. I don't remember on that. It's like between 6 and 700 episode. Yes, I'm nowhere near the 1,000 episode on this. So I'm way behind on that. But there's no major explanation why they're taking a break. But I think they just need a breather to the situation and recharge. Now, in the middle of this situation, Toei announced that basically they will be running another arc temporarily that they've remastered. giving it a contemporary feel for it. It's the Fishman Island arc saga, which will be replacing it until the return of the uh, current series line of the Egghead arc. So you'll be able to get to see that for the next couple of weeks until the return of the current One Piece saga. And we're coming down to the end. We're coming down to the end soon. How will this end? Those of you who have read the manga, you know where we're at as far as that point. This has been going. One Piece has been going on. God, I mean, we're 1122 episodes. It's been going on for a very long time. I mean, besides, Bleach, Dragon Ball, and a couple of others that have been going on and on for a long period of time. I mean, you have a manga which was the Go 13, which is still that's the longest running manga right now. But they haven't really gotten really into a full series on it. They've done a couple of movies, attempted series. They have live action movies. Yes, there's a live action movie of Go 13 out there that's hanging out there. Do catch that. It is decent on there. But when you have anime that's still continuing on, you'll love to watch this. It's a lot of fun to see these characters grow into their story arcs and stuff like that. And you got to remember, we were watching this first on broadcast television, and it was edited down. Meanwhile, you had some censorship. You had characters that smoked cigarettes. And they weren't smoking cigarettes. They had It was those little the end of a lollipop. The paper end of a lollipop that they were putting in their mouths. This was the situation 4Kids were doing for quite some time. If you don't know who 4Kids is, do look them up. They happen to have censored a lot of anime in the day, but they also have introduced a lot of anime. Not only this, the Yu-Gi-Oh series was another one which they also censored. But One Piece was a big one for them as well. But you looked at this is the way they introduced, and now this is where we're pointing here in 2024. We go back a couple of decades to this series on there. And speaking of long-running series, and we're talking hero series, My Hero Academia, which is already, as far as the manga is already finished, as far as that. So where do we get to as far as the anime? Well, we're going to get one more season. Season 8, there is a teaser trailer. We probably will get a little bit more at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. But season 8 will be its last of the arc season. Supposedly, this will encompass the last of the manga will be adapted into the final season, which would be it's season 8, and it's expected to go to 2025. We don't have an exact if it's going. I don't expect it to be winter 2025 or spring. I expect it to be fall, probably fall. This will probably return for its last season, fall 2025. I'm still in season 5 as far as the series. The manga came to an end back during the summer, back on August 5th of 2024. We expect Studio Bones to do a good job on the finale of this, heroes and villains and, the rise of a great hero that's coming forth. Izuki Midori, who's always wanted to be a superhero, but is in a world where pretty much almost every other kid has superpowers and gone to a super school, but he gets the chance by his favorite superhero who endows a piece of his power to him, and we know what goes on from that point on, as he adapts himself to be the greatest superhero of all time. How will this end? You'll have to wait, or if you already know, please don't give it away. If you read the manga all the way through, but yeah, the final season, 2025. 8 seasons compared to One Piece, which One Piece has run a lot longer than this. Dragon Ball has run a lot longer than this. But it was a great series. My Hero Academia was a great series. I liked the villain arc to that. That was, a way to go to get a villain perspective. And the villains were really good in this series. I've always said the villain makes a good part of the story to keep the story going. You can do hero stories and stuff like that, the way Marvel and DC has been going lately. But when you have arcs the way they've been going with this particular series, this hero series is a lot better. The movie, there's a current movie out for it as well, that's in theaters right now. Yeah, if you haven't caught My Hero Academia, you're next. It's still it's reached U.S. theaters. I think we did. It ran 8 in the top 10, which is about 3 million. How could you be Terrifier 3 on there and Beetlejuice? Those are hard ones, but it did 3 million in the U.S. I think it's done about almost 30 to 40 million around the world. Still, it is a good series. They've done a couple of good movies. The artwork is phenomenal to this. It is really, really good. So, comment below. Let me know on the stories that we discussed today. Those of you enjoy New York Comic-Con out there. If you're here in New York, if you're in other places around the world, do get out. Try to go catch some sort of Comic-Con or convention to this nature, because that's very important to see what everybody is watching, what everyone wants to see. Meet those who have similar interests to you. Don't let anybody push you away. Those who are appearing at these Comic-Cons, don't let people push you away from these Comic-Cons because they don't like your politics, they don't like your stories, they don't like who you are. It's your fans that you're there for. And for those who that are these stars and these writers and these artists that interject their politics situation, keep it out of it. Keep it out of these cons. We're here to praise what you've done. The artwork, the entertainment. That's what they're for. So comment, like, share this video, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We'll be back next week, this same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube and Rumble. Thank you for tuning in. We do really appreciate this on Otaku Thursday. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Check out all of our other videos here on Q2Cast TV and Man with the Show. Thank you to those who clicked on this video. We really do appreciate it, because there are thousands and thousands of videos out there that you could have clicked on. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel, as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are 2 ways, listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.
Fuck all what you think, bitch.